Hello everybody, I'm Tony Bush, Professor of Educational Leadership at the University of Nottingham in the Centre for Research in Educational Leadership and Management. I'm also the current President of the British Educational Leadership, Management and Administration Society, BELMAS. I'm also privileged to be the Editor-in-Chief of the leading international journal, Educational Management, Administration and Leadership, EMAL. I'm very busy with research and publications just now. A new book's just been published on school leadership in Malaysia by Routledge. I'm the editor of that book. I have two current research projects in Africa. One is focused on instructional leadership in Tanzania and in Zimbabwe, funded by the Global Challenge Research Fund. And one is a continent-wide literature search on educational leadership in Africa, focused on all 54 countries, so quite a demanding project. In relation to my work at Nottingham, I'm the convener for the Leading Learning module within our MA in Educational Leadership Management. And I currently supervise PhD students from 5 countries: Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Maldives, Indonesia and China. Educational leadership is increasingly important globally, recognised such by many of the international agencies. It's recognised as being increasingly important, indeed fundamental, for school improvement. About 25% of the variation in student outcomes is attributed to the quality of leadership in schools. Linked to that, there's more and more recognition that head teachers should be instructional leaders and not just administrators. In other words, they should be aware of the quality of teaching and learning in their classrooms and put in place interventions to improve that teaching and learning. As demands on principals grow, there's also increasing recognition that they need specialist preparation and training to do their jobs well. Being qualified teachers and having teaching experience are important, but not enough. Being a principal is not the same as being a teacher. So let me say something about the challenges facing educational leaders. And I'm recording this at a time when the world has been rocked by the COVID-19 pandemic, with big implications for the health service, of course, but also for education and for school leaders. And what the pandemic has shown up is that leaders need more preparation and training on how to manage a crisis, along with many other things. Many of the other challenges that leaders face are contextual. In other words, they're specific to their own countries and perhaps also to their own communities. For example, the increasing patterns of global migration are challenging school leaders in many parts of the world. As the student population becomes more diverse, more students may be coming into schools as well without the language skills required to succeed in the classroom. Another major challenge of increasing importance is responding to the global pressures to improve education and schooling. For example, the Programme for International Student Assessment, which compares countries in terms of languages, science and mathematics, and produces league tables for each of those areas of the curriculum. And this is a big challenge for political leaders who don't like to think that their country is languishing towards the bottom of these league tables. So that puts pressure on them, and they put the pressure on school systems and on school leaders to improve their situation. This relates to another issue in relation to my comment about principals being instructional leaders. And I challenge you to think about whether you as leaders know enough about what is going on in your classrooms, about the quality of teaching and learning in the classroom, and how you ensure that it's at a satisfactory level. So let me say something now about leadership models, and I understand you may be reading the paper I produced with my colleague Derek Glover about models of educational leadership. What do we know? There are a whole range of models, and what they're intended to achieve is to help people to understand how leadership is enacted in schools, and also to think about how leaders might modify their leadership styles. Among the most important models are instructional leadership, managerial leadership, distributed leadership, and indeed moral leadership. at a time when the ethical aspects of school leadership have never been more important. But connected to all that and related to the title of your programme, transformational leadership is very important too. And I understand transformational leadership to mean fundamental changes that may occur at national level, at school level, or at individual level. Many countries now are embarking on educational reform programmes, and often they claim to be doing this in order to transform their educational systems. By transformation we mean fundamental change that is going to make a step change to the quality of education in the country. At the school level, the challenge for leaders is to bring about improvement in student outcomes. How can they enhance the quality of teaching and learning so that students succeed at public examinations and in other ways, so they can have very promising careers going forward? We all know how careers are dependent on qualifications. At the individual level, the challenge for leaders is to address underperformance where it occurs in the classroom. And here is a big challenge to, first of all, to analyse what the situation is. Why are teachers underperforming? Is it to do with their motivation? Is it to do with their skills? Is it to do with their relationships with students and with colleagues? All these things need to be addressed. And in relation to bringing about such changes, which is a big challenge for school leaders, it's important to do that through some of the fundamental components of transformational leadership, in particular those of inspiration and empowerment, rather than thinking about a control model and a punishment model, which is unlikely to bring about the required change in motivation. So thank you.